Alright, in this one I will explain how wildcards are implemented under the hood. And wildcards are, maybe you know them by other name, but it's basically in your shell when you do star dot something or anything star something, whatever. Whenever there is a star in one of your arguments of your command, it will expand to all the files that match this pattern, which you've probably used in the past, but now we're going to take a look at how does it find all the files that match this pattern. And so the function that does this under the hood is called fnmatch, which I've done a video on how to use it, but I haven't done a video here. I'm going to do like the implementation of it, or a partial implementation. So how fnmatch works, it's, well, it returns an int in real life, but I'm gonna return a boolean because why not? Makes it a bit clearer than fnmatch, and it takes the pattern as the first argument and the string you're gonna try to match against as the second. And here we can see in my little example, I have the pattern he, then a star, and I'm gonna try to match that against hello, which should work, of course. And so the way to implement this is in a recursive fashion. So first you start by saying if the pattern is empty, like so. What happens if the pattern is empty? Well, if the string you want to match is also empty, it's fine. But if there is still characters left in the string, well, then it's not a match. So you can just say string is also empty. So it will return true if the string is also empty in that case. Next, the next edge case is if the string is currently empty. So same as before. Then you're gonna return. Then if the string is empty, it's only valid if the pattern is also a star, because a star can be 0 or more characters. And we already know that a pattern is not empty. So you can do string compare pattern with the star is equal to 0. So if the string is empty, it will be true only if the pattern is currently only a star. Then if the current first character of the pattern is a star, you have some behavior. And then you will have some behavior for when the pattern is just a regular character. So if it's a star, you can recursively call fnmatch on the 3 possible combinations of advancing one character. It's a bit confusing explained like that, but I will quickly show you. So first you try to fnmatch on pattern +1, so you advance one character and you try to match that against the string. And if it succeeds, you know that there is a match, so you return true. Then you can try to match the current pattern, so with the star included, on the string, but advanced by 1. And if it matches, you know it's true. And finally, if none of those are true, you can try to return fnmatch pattern +1 and string +1. So as you can see, we advance pattern +1 and keep the string, and then the pattern stays the same, the string is incremented by 1, and then you increment both by 1. And what this will do is that if the pattern is a star, well, you allow any character, so you can just skip to the next one and try to match. Or if the character is a star, you can also stop the wildcard, so you remove the star and you try to match on the rest. Or it can also be that you can ignore the star and try on the next one. Basically, it allows any possible combinations of the star, which makes sense since it's like the wildcard. And then, of course, the pattern can also contain regular characters. So in this case, you can check if the current character of the pattern is the same as the string. And then you can do the same thing as here. So, because if it's the same character, well, you know that those 2 characters are equal at least. So you can just move on to the next 2 characters of the pattern and the string, and then run fnmatch on those and see what happens. And if the characters are different, so as soon as you find characters that differ between the pattern and the string, you can just say return false, since the pattern wasn't a wildcard and it was different from the character in the pattern, then, well, there is no match. And so yeah, that's basically how this works. And if I run it, you can see that the one here indicates that it did match. But if I put, for example, well, I can put as much stuff as I want after the HE and it will always match. But if I put some stuff at the beginning, it won't match. But if I suddenly put another wildcard before, you see that it does match. And yeah, that's about what you'd expect, if you do star.c and your file is named main.c, it will match. If it's named anything.c, it will match, and so on and so on. And so yeah, that's the basics of it. But of course, the fnmatch function has a lot of flags to also deal with path. So when you have a slash, you want to treat it as a special character. When you have a starting dot in a file, you want to treat it as a bit of a special thing. And so there is a bunch of flags that I've detailed in the other video that I will link. And yeah, otherwise you can find the full glob syntax that you can use on I think POSIX system in man7 glob, if I'm not mistaken. So you can see that in addition to the regular wildcard, so the star operator, there is the question mark, which is the same, but it will only match one character. So that's quite easy to implement as well. Then there is character classes, which are very similar to regexes, which allow you to just match on a range of characters, so you can do from A to Z and stuff like this. You can also negate the group, like all the characters that aren't A to Z, and stuff like this. But yeah, and that's my implementation that I will also link in the description, like my more complete implementation, I mean. But yeah, that's the basics of it. I hope, yeah, it's a quite cool algorithm with all the recursions all over the place. I really like it when, I don't know, you advance in a string character by character with recursions like this. I find it quite neat, and I hope you do as well. And yeah, anyway, I hope you learned something, and see you.